You know, the older I get, the more people get helpful. It's a good thing, I suppose, in some ways, but it does remind you that you're like becoming an old fucker. Years ago, if we were after buds, you know, buds that we might want of trees that we wanted to propagate, we would just take our knife along and we'd take a piece off the tree and we'd cut down below the bud and then we'd cut above it and we'd take our bud out like this, and then we make a corresponding cut in a compatible tree, a young lider or a young sapling that we wanted to put that bud in, and we'd slide it in, tie it up, and that would be it. That would be our new tree. Now as you get older, your hands are a bit arthritic, you can't see as well, so a friend of mine gave me this tool. Now, he gave it to me about 3 or 4 years ago. And what you do with this thing is, you stick you see, potentially we take a piece of wood and we look at that, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's a 6-inch bit of wood there, and there's 10 or 12 buds all along the way down there. This is a plum actually, it's a nice French plum. And that's potentially 12 plants, but we need to get the buds out. So instead of doing it with the old knife, we do it with this thing. Look at that. Now, in there, there's a bud. Cut out. Bloody amazing. And I ain't got to put my glasses on, I don't do anything. Bloody monkey could do that. And then, what you do, you get your young sapling that you're going to bud it into, you cut it off, don't want all that top, and then you get your machine again, and you just make a cut at the top. Look at that. Well, I'm buggered. And then you put your bud in. There we are. There's the new bud. And that'll go away. This is just a type of wild plum, and the French plum will grow away on those roots beautifully. We'll rub out these other buds. New tree. But I just got to thinking, the old days of the knife were just as good, but it do make you feel bloody old. When people start thinking you're an old fart and you can't see properly. Oh well. I'll take you for a little trip round the nursery. It's the middle of bloody March. And the snow's back. This winter is just seeming to go on and on and on and on. Everything's been frozen for a couple of months, and like, I've got so much work to do. These hookers need a bit of attention. There's 400 or 500 pots of trilliums here. I like trilliums. They're a nice little woodland plant, but we need to have a little close look. You can see on these, the roots are starting, and if we take the top off, these are taking about 4 years to get to this size. We should be able to find the bulb in there. There it is. 4 to 5 years I've been waiting, and that little bugger there. It's no wonder they're expensive, but they're worth it. Beautiful little things, but there's several dozen of those to sort out. It's the first time for about 3 weeks. They've been bored enough to work on. The irises are just starting to wake up. These are gold medal winners, all of these. Great big blousy things, if you like that sort of thing. Again, frozen for weeks. Hellebores. These are some stock plants. And there's some more. It is hard sometimes being a nurseryman, and the older you get, the more you think, God, is it worth it? You just want to sort of like have a cup of coffee, read a book, sit down and watch the world go by a bit. But the tasks, the work are mounting up, and usually January, February you expect, well, we've got used to in recent years having mild winters. Well, the last 2, 3 since 2010 have really shown us not to be complacent. I got 3 months of work to do and 6 days to do it in. Bloody hard that. Especially a man of my impending years, and people sending me gadgets because I'm too bloody crotchety to be able to use them without them. Middle of March. Yeah, 2 or 3 like really warm days, and the bees, God, they won't know what's bloody hit them because they were really active, and then this lot for the past 3 weeks. This is a lovely tree, Cercidophyllum japonicum pendulum, the weeping katsura. I have a few of these. They were budded by the same method as I showed you earlier. However, I used a knife on them. Top bar hives as well. They were pretty active the other day. They're not active now. Poor little babies are feeding their knuckles off. The lovely young wood of Acer senkaki, or sangukaku. They started off being called sangukaku, and then it was changed to senkaki, but now it's starting to go back to sangukaku. Funny old life, isn't it? The amount of name changes there are in plants at the moment, I can't keep up with it. That's the fastigiate pine. Sorry, it's not a pine. It's a Picea. Picea abies fastigiata. Bloody great erect Christmas tree. Quite dramatic, that. Now you might say that senkaki that I showed you wasn't very red. I showed you that one for a reason, because it's grown in semi-shade. So the stems are pinky and not as prolifically red as you might get if one was grown in the sun, like this one. This is senkaki, grown in full sun. The amount of people that insist it's a cornus, well, it bloody ain't, it's a maple. So, there you have it. Senkaki in the sun, senkaki in the shade. Different, but both nice. As you can see, a nurseryman's lot ain't always an happy one. But here is a tree that was budded last year. This was the bud that was put in. You can see it's made a really nice long stem now. And there is the old top, which I'm just going to cut back nice and neat. That one, right, was not done with that. That one was done with a machine. So, David, I have to tell you, I ain't dead or senile yet, but it's still very much appreciated. See you later. Have we done all this now? I sound like a right pudding half of the time. I don't know what's going on here.